Good morning. Let me start by thanking the organizer for having us here. It's always a pleasure to be in Cyprus and to having the opportunity to discuss with such a distinguished group of people. Second, I promise that Colin, Mario, and I did not talk in preparation for this conference, yet we will repeat many of the same things. I'll try not to repeat it, or at least to approach it from the different angle. This session is entitled The Roads Towards Peace, yet I will be talking about economic integration and trade. So let me say a few words about trade and economic integration, why it matters, why it is a win-win situation for all. As Colin put it, we believe that it makes business sense. And third, let me offer a few proposals on the way forward, on the things that can be done over the short term to facilitate trade in Cyprus and through that promote economic integration. That again, we from the World Bank believe and have some evidence to say that it benefits all. The Europe and Central Asia region entered this century with a poverty rate of 47%. So at the beginning of this century, almost half of people were poor. Before pandemic, 20 years later, in 2019, we did a calculation, we did an assessment, and that number was not only halved, there was 15% of people in Europe and Central Asia living in poverty. To a great extent, this poverty reduction had to do with trade and economic integration between different countries. So this is why it makes sense. It alleviates poverty. It not only boosts productivity and helps growth, most importantly, from where we sit, it does have a positive impact on poverty. I'm coming from Bosnia and Herzegovina, and please allow me to go back home for a moment. My country is not a model country in any respect. It is a country of a continued political turmoil. This is why I feel very at home when I come to Cyprus, by the way, because there is always some tensions and some political discussions. But there are things that can be learned from my country. There are important lessons that can be learned. And I will single out one lesson. In spite of all political turmoil, it is a country that has a steady economic growth over the past 30 years. It is the country where, back in the days, soon after the peace agreement was signed in 1995, absolute freedom of movement was established for people, goods, and services across the country. The single most important decision in my country that allowed this was introduction of single license plates. So there was no, license plates were not marked. So I have a car traveling from Sarajevo wherever I go, and vice versa. Hugely important for mobility of people, goods, and services. Hugely important. As a result, economic integration was seamless and has worked for everyone. Politicians quarrel to this day. Businesses don't. Businesses still manage to survive and thrive. And the starting point was to allow freedom of movement of goods, services, and most importantly, people. Let me land in Cyprus now. Since 2004, when Green Line trade was introduced, there was a tenfold increase in Green Line trade. We've heard Mario talking about 15 million euros, the amount of Green Line trade last year. Not only that the volume of trade increased, but also the variety of products that are traded has increased. This is a good thing. 15 million euros last year is still an insignificant share given the capabilities and opportunities for economic integration and for businesses across the island, for both Greek Cypriot businesses and Turkish Cypriot businesses. Let me dare to say it is a drop in an ocean of what can be done. So what's in it for businesses? Why would this enhanced green line trade and economic integration be in the interest of businesses? Colin was referring to intra-market trade. And it's an excellent point. Before we start thinking about EU market, other markets globally, there is trade to happen on Cyprus, in Cyprus. And last year we have done an assessment basically trying to answer the question, what's in it for businesses? Are there products and services in Cyprus that can benefit from economic integration? We have identified 200 products that are currently produced by firms, by Greek Cypriot firms, from which Turkish Cypriot neighbors could benefit. Products that they are bringing from other markets, yet they are existing here in Cyprus. Services that they are taking from other markets, yes, they are available here in Cyprus. 200 such goods and services. So there is a huge benefit of economic integration. Similarly, there are products and services available by businesses, Turkish Cypriot businesses, that can be beneficial for the businesses, for the Greek Cypriot businesses. So it's a win-win situation for entrepreneurs on both sides. We talked about integration addressing trust. Trust is a scarce resource in societies such as Cyprus. I'm coming from one such region, and it is painful how trust undermines economic growth. It is painful how it hurts the most vulnerable, and I'll talk about it in a moment. But let me offer a couple of proposals of what can be done to address this and to enhance economic integration and green line trade. A couple of very simple proposals. In order to happen, you need free movement of capital. Today, you cannot open a bank account across the island if you are an entrepreneur. It hurts. It hurts businesses. They cannot perform financial transactions. They use all sorts of creative ways to make payments. This needs to be resolved. Last year we have provided very specific recommendations on actions that need to be taken. These are not rocket science actions. These are doable things. Second, commercial vehicles need to move across the island freely, at least commercial vehicles, if we are serious about trade, if we are serious about economic integration, if we are serious about growth. In the coming weeks, we will do a study to assess what are the impediments for movement of commercial vehicles across the island. And we will be happy to share recommendations that will again be very specific and achievable set of targets. Third, most important, movement of people. It is critical. We hear about sporadic evidence of people from one side of a green line working on the other, etc., etc. Until we reach a point that that's a normalcy and not an ad hoc event, we will miss great opportunity for prosperity in Cyprus. So freedom of labor mobility, critical. And let me single out two categories at the end that we would like Cyprus to pay greater attention to. One, women. An untapped potential for the Cypriot economy across the Cyprus. In Europe, labor force participation by women is 68%. In the Greek Cypriot part of the economy, it is 60%. In the Turkish Cypriot part of the economy, 37%. Very discouraging. Policymakers need to do something about it. We need to free up the space and encourage and incentivize female labor participation. That's one, an untapped potential for Cypriot economy. Youth. We are living in a digital era. There will be a panel after this one where we will be talking about it, talking about SMEs innovation. And I will be talking about youth, because youth has a huge potential. An untapped potential because we are living in a digital era and the youth are coming with a set of skills that are they're familiar with information technology, certainly more than I am and my generation is. So it is an untapped potential for the Cypriot economy. Finally, skills. It is investment now that will pay off in the future. Investment that will bring the Cypriot labor force on par with the EU counterparts, particularly in the north and west of the EU, and it will benefit the economy as a whole. Thank you very much for your attention.